Yeah. Now, 2, 1. Good morning and welcome to the fifth quarter AZ. My name is Danny Neal and I will be your co-host for today. It's a pleasure being here today. And of course, I cannot go any further without introducing my partner in crime, the guy that's doing everything around. He's coaching flag football. He's getting ready to start basketball. He's working for the city of Flagstaff, doing all kinds of things. And that's my guy, Mr. Coach Tyrone Johnson. How you doing, Coach?
Coach, what's going on, man? I'm doing good this morning. How you doing?
Man, I'm doing good. I'm doing good, man. I just wanted to wait for the show to come on to ask you a very important question. I got an echo coming through here somewhere. But
Hey, you just got to keep going, man. You just got to keep doing it.
Yeah, I'm doing my thing, man. Hey, but what it is I'm just glad to see you this morning, man. Because I know yesterday for open gym, we only had 9 girls there. So we needed a 10th player. And who stepped up and ran full court with the girls? My guy, Coach Johnson. How you feeling after a day of running them down the court, man?
Hey, man, I feel great. You know what I mean? I feel young. I feel spry. I think my team, I think we were, 3-1 on the night, 4-1, something like that. So, winning always makes everything feel better.
It does, man. It does. And you were with the younger group, so you're there leading the younger group. Had our partner Nathan Joe over on the side. We tried to get him to go, but then he caught a cramp just sitting there watching us. So, I'm glad that he made the right choice, man. But it's a beautiful day and it's cold outside, man. I think this last night was the first 20 or something like that. So I hope you stayed warm and you're them old bones and stuff, man. You are looking good.
Hey, man, I'm out in the elements. This ain't nothing now. You know what I mean?
Oh,
I be in the elements now.
I forgot.
Yeah, I practice outside. I do all that. I'm just not an indoors person like you nowadays. You know what I mean? I expanded my horizons, so I can weather the storm.
I guess you can. And I know when you first started playing football, you say, man, you coming with me? I'm like, no, it's outside and it's cold. And that's what I meant. So I made the right decision, man. But, we just, in doing what we're doing and just our main thing is these high school kids and the sports that they're doing and things like that. And just keeping up with that, man. Let's get caught up with some stuff. And before I start, I want to apologize to, I believe it's MPA soccer team or somebody that's doing really, really well, and I couldn't find the records for them and stuff. But there's a lot of good things happening with the city of Flagstaff and with our high school kids, man. And so just to get everybody up to date with what's going on right now. First of all, we want to talk about Coconino High School's football team, and they are they're not doing bad at all. With I'm trying to find this, with a record of 3-3, I believe, and they will be at Apache Junction tonight. No, they play Apache Junction here at Coconino High School. Apache Junction is 1-5. So everybody go out there and support the Coconino Panthers. Flagstaff High School is off bye week, so we should have everybody at Coconino High School tonight supporting them, as we always push, that we get out there and support all the kids. I know we're Flag High, there's MPA, let's support everybody. They and I wanted to give a shout out also to their JV sophomore team at Coconino that's 5-0. So the future is very, very bright at Coconino High School. So let's give them a holler right there. And then Coach Mickey Clemens at Flagstaff High School with a record of 2-5. They have a bye week this week, and they will be playing number 1 ranked in the conference, Lee Williams, who's 6-1. And that will be next week, October 20th. So, hey, rest up, guys. I know you had a few people hurt last week, and let's come back strong and get things done. And so just really looking forward to that. Oh, man, I got a whole bunch of information today. And then we have Coconino High School with Scott Denny, and we know that she's working hard with those girls. Having a tough year this year at 1-11, but we know they're out there working hard, getting things done. on the 16th. They will be playing Bradshaw Mountain, who has a record of 6-5. So, hey, let's go, Coconino. Let's get it done. And we know that they will with Coach Scott Denny, Flagstaff High School with Beth Haggard. Of course, they are having a great year. They're 11-2 right now. And we give, as I gave a little shout out to Coconino's freshman and sophomore team, Flag High's JV is 10-1, doing really well. And their freshmen are 10-3, doing very well. And they will play Mingus on October 17th. That's me and my wife's 46th wedding anniversary. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Right. She put up with me that long, so we're okay.
God, Lord, bless her. Bless her. She's an angel.
Don't even start, man. So we're really excited about them and what they're doing over there. You know, everybody's doing really well. And we got some great athletes in this town. And of course, where are we at? With MPA, with Coach Corey Murphy. And they have a record of 11-1. They're doing the best in the city, actually. 6-0 in conference and number 1 in the standings. So, our kids here in Flagstaff are really doing some big things and being successful and working hard. So we just want to give them a lot of praise and support and get behind our kids, because that's what it's about. But we also,
Coach, just in, MPA, soccer, the record she was looking for. Therefore, on the boys' side, they are number 6 in the state. They're 6-0 in region. In conference, they got a 7-2-1 record. On the girls' side, they are 7-3 overall, 3-0 in conference. 3-0. They're number 1 in standings, and then they're number 3. They're ranked number 3 overall.
That's all right, man. The hottest team in the city right there, MPA Spartans. Let's give them some love. And hey, I know we don't hear a lot about them just because they're one of the charter schools, but they're still Flagstaff kids. So we really want to get behind them, support them, show them some love. But not just in Flagstaff, Coach. I want to talk about a young lady in Winslow, Arizona. You coached a young lady named Grace Linez that was in the 1,000 club. I think that's what's 1,000 kills in volleyball, 1,000 points in basketball, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
There is a young lady in Winslow who's kind of, I believe, in the same family as Grace Linez, named JC Ghani, who announced on Twitter 3 days ago that she finally got her 1,000th dig in volleyball. She got that against Monument Valley on October 4th. Had a massive match with 12 kills, 18 digs, and 3 aces. This goes along with her 1,062 points she scored in basketball. Grayson definitely deserves a lot of credit for what she did, and we both know her personally and know the incredible athlete she was. She was actually the female athlete for the whole state of Arizona her senior year. And Grayson did that in 4 years. JC's, I believe, only a junior right now. And so
she's a senior.
She's a senior. This is her senior year. Okay. Mm-hmm. Thank you for correcting me on that. Boy, you just a plethora of information this morning, ain't you? So we want to give JC Ghani a shout out over there in Winslow High School too for her accomplishments and what she's done and what she continues to do and support her. So hey man, we covered a lot of stuff today. We covered a lot of stuff today, and we cannot forget about the Lady Eagles flag football team, their coaching staff, and a huge shout out to their offensive coordinator, who was struggling a few games. And the coach sat him down, had a talk with him, and that OC has come around and they're scoring runs. They've moved from number 11 in state to number 6 in state, and now they're fighting for a state tournament. Can you tell us about the Lady Eagles flag football team?
Yeah, I think it's probably more important or more appropriate to talk about our defensive coach and our skills coach and everything. Yes. The offensive coordinator, we bump heads a lot, so we won't talk about the offensive coordinator.
Who's the offensive coordinator again?
Me. That's
okay, but no. Leave that alone.
No, it's going good. I think defensively, we're really locked in. We're improving every time we come out. And so if the defense can really hold up and make it difficult for teams to score, some of our special teams and then our offense come through, I think we have a good chance to make a nice little run. So we are off this week. Next week, we finish out the regular season. Hopefully we can position ourselves well enough to get up maybe into that top 4. We got an outside chance. And if we can do that, then we'll possibly get 2 home games in the playoffs. And then we're just going to try and let it happen.
So, Coach, the other night, Eric Freas over at the AD at Coconino was nice enough to let you guys use their field to have a night game. Let the girls play senior night under the lights. You're a basketball coach, man. How was the weather for you as a playing football coach?
Hey, man, I told you I done adjusted to the elements, man. I was out there eating snow cones and everything. You know what I mean? So I'm good. I'm good. I'm in.
So what kind of advantage do you think that will give your flag football team if we can get some of these Phoenix teams to have to come up here and play in the elements? I just mentioned that last night was our first 20-degree low. So just like in basketball, we use 7,000 feet. Flag football, when you use the 30-degree temperatures?
Well, again, we'll have to discuss that a little bit with our guests when we bring them on, and we'll see. Because I know right now, at least the playoffs, all the games are lined up at 6:00, and so for us to play that, we'd have to be able to use Coconino High School, or I don't know if they're going to make an exception and allow us to play at 3, so on and so forth. So weather may not be a factor, it may be, but irregardless, whether it's hot, cold, whatever, we better come out and we better perform. Otherwise, season over.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's all right, man. We wishing y'all all luck. You had a great turnout for senior night. And so we want to, once again, just another group of young ladies that are out there, flag staff kids that are doing great things, man. So I'm glad you mentioned the AD, at Coconino, which we mentioned a couple times. So that's a great segue into our guest today, because it is none other than the AD at Coconino High School, Mr. Eric Freas. How you doing today, Mr. Coach Freas?
Yeah, I'm very well. Appreciate the opportunity to be on. Thank you.
Oh, man, we want to thank you for being on. We've been talking about getting you on for a while now. So we finally got it going. So what we like to do is, first of all, let you tell us a little bit about yourself, your upbringing, your sports, how you got the flag staff. And for me, as long as I've known you, in many, many years, you're not as old as me, but many, many years, I really don't even know where you were from.
All right. Well, I went to high school at Deer Valley down in Glendale. Went to NAU out of there to on an athletic training scholarship. Worked with Mike Nesbitt in the late 80s. And frankly, other than a year of student teaching at my former high school, I never left Flagstaff. That's how much I love it.
I didn't know Deer Valley's been there that long.
Yeah, actually, I was I was the 5th graduating class of that school.
And what were they? They were class 4A then?
Actually, they were 1AA.
That was a long time ago.
Yes,
yeah,
indeed.
there was no 1 to 6A at that time. It was 1AA or 1A. So we were in the AA category at that time in the late 80s. Yes, long time ago.
Yeah. And so now you're currently at Coconino, and you're the athletic director. You're also their trainer, and you came up under the legendary Mike Nesbitt. I mean, how was that? Yeah. Nes was my guy when I played. So how was that coming up under Nesbitt?
I could not have learned from a more expertised individual. He was just an exceptional mentor to me, and actually the guy that I started under in high school. The athletic trainer at my high school was one of his alums as well. So I'm kind of like second generation down from him. So I've had the incredible fortunacy of working with him and being his personal friend all these years. And it unbelievable amount of experience that I was able to get through him. So And then, this is my 30th year at Coconino, so it's been a while.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And so you are the athletic trainer, you are the athletic director. How is it balancing both of those out, or do it just kind of go hand in hand naturally for you?
Well, yeah, I wouldn't say it's natural by any means. It's a heck of a challenge on a daily basis. I've had a number of individuals shadow me over the years, and it's interesting because it could be, from second to second, changing jobs from AT doing AT stuff to doing AD stuff, and it goes back and forth. It's somewhat seamless in terms of the person being all at the same place at the same time. Um, obviously the athletic trainer needs to be at absolutely everything at home, and so it's the two jobs mixed very well, and that in terms of that doing those two jobs at the same time. But it's definitely a challenge at times. And fortunately, I've got a significant amount of support at Coconino for on the admin side and just coaches in general and that type of stuff. If I'm needing to deal with an injury, the AD stuff takes second fiddle to taking care of the kids physically.
Right, right. And someday that athletic trainer's office is going to be the Eric Freas athletic training office. And it should be well deserved. It should be that already. Should be that already. So, Coach Freas, and I call you coach because you did do a little bit of coaching.
Very, very, very little, frankly. Yes. I played basketball in high school, so that was my sport of choice. I did do a little bit of coaching associated with that and summer league stuff, but nothing ever official. No. It's just the simple experience of being around athletics since birth basically has given me the experience to be the athletic director.
Right. And
Yeah.
as we go around to these different schools playing at these schools, we're finding out that, especially when budget cuts came, things got hard. The athletic trainer was one of the first things they cut. And a lot of times we go to these schools and we got to tape. Luckily, we have someone like Coach Jess Herbal who knows how to tape, who's been through the athletic training programs. So what is it like now going to these different schools and not having an athletic trainer
Yeah,
anymore?
it's incredibly unfortunate, frankly. I've been a strong proponent for high school athletic trainers just for obvious reasons.
Right.
Um, it's really unfortunate. There's a tremendous amount of rural schools that, for whatever reason, they have difficulty with the funding, or they can't find an individual to move to where they are in the state. I've had 4 schools just this fall reach out to me trying to find somebody for their particular school. And with the graduates that we have coming out of the athletic training program at NAU, I've tried to match those people up with those particular jobs. It's incredibly unfortunate, and we all know, I I always tell people, the safety and the well-being and the health of the students takes priority
Right.
absolutely 100% over absolutely everything. If
Right.
they're not healthy and physically, mentally, all that kind of stuff, then obviously they're not going to be available for anything else. So it's really unfortunate that those schools don't have somebody, and we will continue to fight to try to
Right.
afford them the opportunity to have somebody in that position.
Yep. And you mentioned physical health and mental health. Nowadays, with everything that's going on as far as the opportunities, the YouTube, the videos, so on and so forth, how do you assess the mental health now compared to, say, maybe when we played? Were kids mentally tougher then as opposed to now, or is it just totally different? Or are these kids actually more mentally tough than what we were?
I would have to. There's a lot of variables that go into that, for without question. What these individuals are now involved with, what they're exposed to on a daily basis. I know I can't relate to it in terms of being that age and relating to those type of things. I mean, kids with homeless kids, the vaping issue, all that, the social media issue. I can't stand social media. No offense to anybody online, but I'm not a part of it. I don't believe in it. It's just not part of my personality. I think it causes more problems than not. Yeah, I would say they're probably more mentally tougher just because of the fact that they have to deal with more things coming at them on a 24/7 basis. Just the sheer amount of stimulus that's in their face every day that I certainly can't relate to as a teenager dealing with that type of stuff.
Right. And I agree.
So do you see that do you see that they need, say, more mental health days as far as breaks from practices, whether it's, even a break from school, but do you really have to have something in as an athletic trainer to help them out with their mental health as much as their physical health?
And in fact, in many cases, it's more important for their mental health than their physical health at this point. That the physical part of things is usually somewhat easy to deal with. But you got an athlete, I mean, who knows what's going on in their personal lives, and sometimes they just need a literal timeout from absolutely everything. It has them getting back into practice or back into games, and the perceived attitude of them to say, I don't think I can play today, may have absolutely nothing to do with them physically. It just, something's going on at home.
Right.
They've got, their siblings are in the hospital. I mean, who knows? There's a zillion different things that pop up into that. So their mental health is more important now than ever before. And hopefully we can provide the resources available for them to be able to follow through with what they want to do. And frankly, it's quite intimidating for these seniors sometimes that, real life's about to hit them flat in the face really quickly when they turn 18.
Right.
And for whatever reason, they may not have the resources available to them, or they have no idea what they're going to do, or they don't have the finances to go do what they want to do. So lots of challenges physically and especially mentally going on right now in this day and age.
Right. And from working at the rec center as long as we have, as Coach John and I, and you right next door there, and I always say that there's an urban area in Flagstaff at Sunnyside.
Without doubt.
And how do you switch hats when you got an athlete that you're working with as a trainer? Now you got to go in as the AD.
Yeah,
with the same kid.
Yeah, that's a heck of a challenge. I mean, and switching those hats on a minute-to-minute basis can be, really challenging. And sometimes, in one moment I could be, providing them the empathy that they need, and the next moment I may have to be, doing some type of discipline with them. So it's a little bit of a challenge, and frankly, it's a challenge on the athlete too, because they see me and they don't quite understand sometimes that those two different personalities have to come out in seconds
right.
With what the situation that they may be going through. And sometimes it limits the kids coming to me as the athletic trainer, because they see me as just the AD, and if you got to go see the AD, that's typically not very good most of the time. And that sometimes, like I said, limits them coming to me as the athletic trainer. I try to, be as open to that as possible, because that's obviously not my job, but it's definitely challenging on a minute-to-minute basis.
Right. And I've seen last week, I saw me and you were standing up talking at the volleyball game, and one big football player came up there and said, "Coach, I tore my fingernail off." How did you handle that?
Well, in my incredibly sarcastic self, I can almost guarantee I said, "Well, you have 9 more, so there's not much we can do about it now. It's already gone. So covered up to get you back to practice."
Yeah, he's standing up. I mean, this kid had to be like 6'1", 6'2", 230, something like that. And he's like, "Oh."
Yep. I mean, it hurts. I get it. I'm not saying that. But there's nothing but to do about it now. So let's cover it up and get back on the field. I can't glue it back on.
Johnson?
No, that's that tough love right there. You got to have it, that tough love. But yeah, now from the athletic director side, you guys are in season as far as your fall sports go. What is your biggest thing in order to support your current coaches? How do you do it? What do they need from you typically in order for their season to be smooth and successful?
It's a good question. So, there's another real proponent and positive of me being the athletic trainer as well, is because I am, I'm on site pretty much 95% of the time when they're practicing. So I'm readily available whenever they're having challenges or they've got some concerns or whatever that happens to be. So I think my availability is a real strong proponent for that. They know that they can come to me on a minute by minute basis if need be, for the healthcare, obviously, and for any administrative issues that are going on. The biggest challenges I would say that they're having right now is just the simple the simple day and age of the high school student and the challenges that they are going through and trying to lead those young individuals through those challenges, through those difficulties. Sometimes they don't have support at home, which is incredibly unfortunate. So sometimes, and I know, Tyrone, you've definitely had to deal with this upon occasion. You end up being parent sometimes.
Right. Oh yeah.
It is what it is in this day and age, unfortunately. So that's one of the biggest challenges I feel that those kids have. It's when I was in high school, it's for a student not to have two parents at home was pretty incredibly unusual.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's definitively the minority that have if not even one at home.
Exactly.
So dealing with those, or having the opportunity to take care of those kids in that way and be somewhat of a parent figure to them is definitely a challenge. That sports is, I tell people all the time, sports is really just the avenue that we use to do our best to lead these kids through high school and to be mentors to them so they have the skills moving forward. It's, wins and losses are terrific and competition is terrific, but being those role models and being able to follow through with, them being able to visualize what is possible and moving forward is definitely the most important thing to me.
Absolutely. Right. Absolutely.
Now,
how many sports do you guys have at Coconino? What opportunities are there for these student athletes to come out, whether it's fall, winter, spring? What offerings do you have?
So we've got 16 total sports that go along. Obviously, the fall right now, we are planning on adding flag football next year, so the kids are real excited about that.
Nice.
So sorry, but you can't use my field anymore.
hey, just give me a couple more times this year. That's all. Just a couple more times this year.
We'll figure it out, man. We'll figure it out. So right now, obviously, we've got cross country, football, volleyball, cross country, and golf. The winter, we've got the typical winter sports that no one ever understands out of Northern Arizona. And we said when we play a winter soccer schedule, they look at like I'm insane. So soccer, basketball, wrestling, and then obviously spring we've got the baseball, softball, track, beach volleyball, and tennis. Nice. So, and then obviously my spirit line, that whole crew goes pretty much almost the entire school year from August all the way through pretty much March on a yearly basis. So their season's a heck of a grind on them as well.
Right.
So, Coach, me being the JV coach at Flagstaff, I don't have to deal with the ADs that much. So, at least Coach Johnson won't let me.
I don't get to interact with the ADs much.
That's much better way to put it.
There you go. I don't have, believe me, Memphis Bender interacts a lot, but yeah, we don't get to interact as much. Business-wise, we always have fun, but I don't know if I truly know everything that the AD does. I mean, I know Ms. Brown's going to meetings in Phoenix all the time. You guys are all over the place. Can you tell us exactly what your duties are as an AD?
Oh my goodness. Well, that's an interesting question. And the reason I say that is, like I alluded to, there's people doing job shadowing and that type of stuff. And I'm trying to mentor a few individuals now within my building for the inevitability of me retiring some decade. So it's I wouldn't say it's impossible for me to list everything, but it's definitively very difficult. I mean, just from AIA compliance is probably the biggest one on the list, trying to keep everybody in compliance with the AIA rules, getting everybody cleared physically, for their, for their particular sport, game setup, game breakdown, game workers, officials, crowd control, rules and regs. I do all extracurricular transportation at Coconino, so that's not only athletics but all field trips, all that type of stuff. So that kicks in as well. And then the proverbial, oh, by the way, I need you to do X, Y, Z. You know how that goes, right? Other duties as assigned. Yesterday I was brushing my football field and vacuuming it so it was clean, and the pile was picked up for the games today. I was cleaning up my press box because no one seems to figure out how to vacuum that, so I do that. I mean, you could pick anything you want out of that list. In one way or another, I get regularly people go, "You do that too?" Yeah, I do that too, because no one else. Unfortunately, we're so short-staffed that sometimes you just don't have the staff in order to do those things. So if you don't do them, they're not going to get done.
Right.
So, yeah,
absolutely. And then, Coach, talked a little bit about the football team, and Coach Neal was talking about their last game that they played against Lee Williams, and how Lee Williams is number one in the standings and all that good stuff. And you guys took them into overtime. It looks like it took them overtime to beat you. And so you guys have been kind of right there with a couple of games. And so if you have a couple wins, then you're definitely in that 16. Right now you're sitting at 18. What is it going to take for you guys to get 16 and make it into the state playoff?
Well, I'm assuming people know roughly how that system works, but every time a team that has beat us or frankly that we have beat wins, obviously you get those PowerPoints. So we definitively have to win out. In football, that's going to be, we've got 4 games to play, so that's going to be a heck of a challenge to do, but that's the goal for obvious reasons. We were up 14-0 on Lee Williams in the third quarter. And they're always incredibly scrappy. They since that school's inception, they've been those type of kids. They've worked their tails off, and they were able to score twice on us really quickly and tie it up and push. We had a field goal at the end to try to win it in the last second. Unfortunately that wasn't successful. But we worked our tails off. That's for sure. It was a heck of a good game. It was one of those that I mentioned to the athletic director on the opposite side. I said it was a shame somebody had to lose that game because both teams were working their tails off. Unfortunately, someone's going to lose. But got to win out. We were pretty much only one game we've had this season thus far. We weren't really in against Arcadia, but they're I think probably in the top 5. I don't even know, but they're undefeated. They're a heck of a team. So we win out. I think we've got a relatively good chance to maybe pop into that 13, 14, 15 spot, I hope, and compete at the first round of the playoffs. And that's why you play the game. You never know. You never know.
Right. So with sports changing now, we're getting ready for trials for basketball and all these other sports. Can you tell the students and parents what they need for their child to be ready to play? I know there's brain book. I know there's all these different things that they need. And we always stress to the girls, make sure you get this done. And there's always 2 or 3, oh yeah, I've got it done. And then they're not signed off.
Yeah. We use a platform called Register My Athlete. They changed the name a little bit. It's called Activate now, but they can still register through that same platform. So they got to have a completed form with that. They got to take their brain book, which is the concussion education course. They got to take the opioid education course, which is obviously what that is. They got to have a current AIA physical on the AIA form. And very unusually, everything that's on there needs to be filled out. All the signatures and all the pages and everything's got to be filled out appropriately. And then, needless to say, they've got to register for that particular sport. You can't just make an account for Coconino. You got to register for whatever sports that you want to play too. I get a tremendous amount of kids say, "Yeah, I'm good. I'm all registered." And I look in there and say, "Yep, you're registered, but you haven't registered for a sport yet."
Right.
So they've got to get that in there. Unfortunately, I've got a significant amount of people that they like to create a new account for every sport that they play, which I try to instill the fact that they create one account and then register for every sport within that account.
Right.
And then I call it their page. You go look at your page. You can see exactly what you've done on that. And fortunately, that platform allows that information, that the concussion, that type of stuff, carries over year to year. As we know, we don't have to do that. They do that one time during their high school career. The physical's got to be new every year. So it's not cumbersome, but it is a matter of doing it appropriately before you start. And needless to say, there's I always make fun of it because there never seems to be a happy medium. I get kids that want to get cleared 8 months before their sport, and I get kids that want to get cleared 8 seconds before their sport. There's no happy medium between the two.
And that's what I was going to ask you. Is there like a deadline, say, for winter sports? Are you looking forward to be the 27th or 25th, or are you there the 30th as they trying to go out to tryouts and you trying to sign off on stuff to get them out there?
I've created a monster in that myself. I afford them the opportunity to register all the way up to the day of. I don't want to limit their availability. Obviously, some kids don't have the access to the platform that they need. Don't have the I have computers in my office that I have because they don't have a computer at home, or they don't have internet at home. I mean, that type of stuff happens. So I afford them the opportunity to register all the way up to when we're starting, for sure.
Do they have to do the brain book every year?
No, sir. That is a one-timer in their 4-year career, as is the opioid course.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. I got a tough question for you, Coach. Tough question. You've been around a while. Who was the best running back? Carlton Johns, or Taurus Johns?
Well, I'm going to date myself a little bit. Taurus actually graduated the year before I got there.
Oh, he's old then.
Yeah. So I didn't have the opportunity to watch him run. But out of the other two, I would say there are two different types of runners, frankly.
Oh, yeah.
Carlton
It's a scat back.
Was almost more like a fullback. He was stockier, had a stronger running, and then Carlton was, much quicker and more elusive. So I couldn't think of, necessarily a better one because they were just totally different running backs. Those were the days too when we had running backs coming out of our ears, right? We did every year. Everybody had an amazing running back behind their quarterback, and we've had some definitely since. But those were the days where they just kept coming.
Well, I mean, during that time, and you're right, I had Corin call Mr. Corin was just that power guy. He just run over you and love it, laugh at you. He didn't care. But you also had Bruce Branch.
Oh yeah, Bruce was fun to watch.
Both of them together.
Yeah. I had when I was still teaching. I taught for 22 years. I actually had Bruce in my class as a freshman. And you could tell just based upon his body frame at the time that this kid was going to be quite amazing. So he was fun to watch. Yeah, I very much enjoy watching him throughout his entire career. Wish he had the opportunity to go further, frankly.
Right. The injury at NAU took him out.
Yep.
You're doing well now. Yeah. So you did have that group of running backs for maybe a 10-year period at Flag High and Coconino.
Yeah, exactly. Both sides of town.
That just had these incredible running backs, great quarterbacks at that time too. Why did we have such great group of athletes during just that period? I mean, we always have great athletes, but during that time, I mean, there was just some studs coming out.
Yeah. I mean, for whatever reason, just like any team and any program, you're going to be cyclical, right? You're going to have years where you just got tremendous amount of talent and maybe not the mentality of it. And then the next year you've got all the mentality and maybe not necessarily all the talent. I mean, I'll bring up Prescott High School as a prime example this year. I mean, I think they had like 32 seniors last year played. I mean, their team last year was stellar. And then this year, as Cody is experiencing right now a little bit, he's, they're not winning as they did last year because they just don't have the athletes that came back after graduating. So everything is cyclical.
Right.
You're going to have those years where you got kids coming out of your ears, and it's hard to even make cuts because you had so much talent. And then other time, Tyrone's, you got a prime example. I mean, look, all those years of competing at the girls basketball level, and you finally were able to break through last year and had an amazing team. Wouldn't be overly surprised if you're frankly right back into the mix this year. just because of everybody that you got coming back. But as bad as it is to say, in 2 years you may be 1 in 15. I mean, who knows? Hopefully not, but that just happens.
Right.
Yeah.
If he's 1 in 15,
if
he'll
I
blame
am
it on the JV coach.
Yep. If I'm 1 in 15 in 2 years, it's his fault. I'm gonna tell you right now. He didn't do something right.
It's because he's the JV coach. You're not doing your job at the lower level.
That's right.
Dang right.
All right. Well, coach,
Blame it on the freshman coach.
Huh?
Blame it on the freshman coach.
That's my wife.
Oh, no, don't do that.
Yes, indeed. And coach, we just want I guess it's about that time in the show, coach, where we ask you to impart a little wisdom on the millions of people out there watching today.
Wow. I didn't realize the show was that popular.
Oh, it's only because they know you wrong. The only reason.
Okay. Fair enough.
Only reason they said that you
they don't want to listen to me in person, let alone on a computer.
But it's that time of the show where we ask you to impart a little wisdom, motivation on us. And this part of the show is called the Coach Johnson's Golden Nugget Question of the Day. Get him, Coach.
Oh boy. All right.
I didn't prepare for this. I better be ready. Hold on.
Say, get ready.
Right,
well, first off, before I even get into it, I just want to say, Freas, I appreciate you in terms of, working with us always, and whether it's flag high and you working with us, or whether even with the city, when I need things with the city and you work with us. So just want to let you know that definitely appreciate your willingness to always work with us. And so wanted you to know that for sure.
Okay. And before the question, Coach, I also want to pigtail on that and say that we have a program called Night Court, where we have police officers. We're really trying to keep the community together and let these people know that the police officers are good people too. And especially in the Sunnyside area, anytime they see the police, it's usually in a negative situation. So you are allowing us to use Coconino High School gym on the third Friday of every month for Night Court, where these kids, high school age, middle school age to high school, get a chance to come in from 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Friday nights. Flag PD will have police officers, not in uniform, but in basketball uniforms, coming out, playing with these kids and letting them know we're people too, having fun, they're going to be buying pizzas and everything. And because of the work you do in the community, you're allowing us to use Coconino High School to make that connection. So I want to tell you, thank you very much.
You're very welcome. I'm glad we're able to accommodate.
Yep. And he doesn't talk so much, I forgot my question. No, seriously though. So Freas, as you came through and you alluded to sport and what it does for these kids, or what we hope that they would take from it. I mean, give us the benefit for a student athlete to really be involved in extracurricular activities, sport, whatever, and also the importance maybe of being more than a specialty athlete, being a multi-sport athlete.
I'm glad you brought that up, Tyrone, because I actually have every year for my coaches meeting, I actually have all my coaches sign a pledge that basically says they're going to support multi-sport athletes. And I'm not saying, obviously interfere with practices, but if the kid wants to go to a basketball practice after football practice, then they're going to support doing that. Because that's, again, it's about 100% of the time, 100% about what the kid wants to do, not about what you want them to do. That has nothing to do with you. We have to humble ourselves and look at that. I get, you want your starting quarterback, you're like, oh my gosh, I don't want him to do anything else because I don't want him to get hurt. Well, that's about you, right? If the kid wants to participate, then that's what it wants to do. So that we support that. We use sports as I mentioned, as an avenue. You're teaching cooperation and teamwork and accountability and responsibility. I mean, I could go on with all these different adjectives. We use a program. I don't know if Flagstaff High School is still part of it, but the Character Matters program that Wade Salem has put together. You know, that just the very title of it tells you a whole heck of a lot in terms of what type of person are you. Teaching that character how to be, you know, cooperate with others. You know, are you let's just say hypothetically you get a person on your team that gets injured. Well, you just go, oh yeah, I guess you got injured. I guess you're done. You know, well, what do we do with that individual now that they've been injured? Now they can't play.
Right.
What type of teamwork do we come across? Do we have any empathy for this individual and what the level that looks like? How can we help them? I mean, all that type of stuff is part of athletics in general. There's a significant amount of kids that is their family.
Right. Very true.
That's just the way it is. You know, I'm always amazed by, I make fun of this all the time, facetiously speaking, that, you know, the kids, they complain about being at school most of the time. And yet when they're able to go home, guess what? They don't.
Right.
They're
hanging out at the
in
school.
gym, or they're hanging out in the common area or whatever it happens to be, right? They're just, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. It's 10 o'clock at night. I want to go home.
We've heard that before.
I mean, they don't have some of them don't have that support at home. So they utilize that and it's extremely emotionally, physically, mentally, spiritually healthy for them to be a part of that group like that. And it's real interesting just in terms of how important athletics are to those individuals. And we're a privilege to be able to provide those opportunities for those kids. So they have that opportunity to be a part of something. And again, I'll bring it back to where we were before in terms of the seniors graduating. You know, they're realizing that family that I had in my whatever team is, you know, we're not going to be meeting on a daily basis anymore. And that's gone. So it becomes quite challenging and intimidating for them moving forward. So there's a lot of, unfortunately, there's a lot of people that, you know, Danny, you alluded to it earlier in terms of the athletic trainers being cut, but, you know, they always look at, well, we got to save money. So we got to cut athletics. I mean, frankly, the academicians don't want to hear this, but frankly, athletics are more important sometimes to certain kids than academics are. And that's literally what is keeping them going to class and keeping them in school.
Keeping their grades up.
Keeping their grades up, right? I mean, that's what's in there. I mean, I see it every year. You know, you get kids that they're staying eligible, they're working their tails off, they're doing everything they can to be accountable for their particular sport. And when it's over, when the season's over, they struggle a little bit because they no longer have that self-accountability for their team. And their grades have a tendency to slip sometimes. It's unfortunate, but the importance is almost immeasurable, right? For athletes in general. I mean, it is massive. Yeah. And we as you know, as the school district, obviously have that opportunity to afford those individuals to have those opportunities. And it increases, you know, as people have studied, you know, it decreases tardiness, it decreases absences, it increases grades. You have less discipline issues. I mean, I could go on and on with all the positivities of it.
Yeah. So Freas, definitely appreciate that answer, but we do got a live question. People can actually send questions in. They're watching live and everything right now. So we do have a live question. And this is coming from our very own Michelle Benedict. Say, what happens if a student wants to play but can't afford the participation fee?
Well, that's a terrific question. So we do have a number of individuals, just so everybody is aware, it's $150 per school year to participate in athletics. It is simply a participation fee, not a play fee. So it needs to be aware about that. That does offset a significant amount of costs that we accrue for athletics. But what that comes down to is simply that family communicating with me, and we figure out whether we can aid them or how we can aid them in either waiving that fee or decreasing it, or figure out payment plans. There's a wide variety of different things that we can do to accommodate that. We never, ever, ever, and will never prevent a kid from playing and participating in athletics if they cannot afford the participation fee. Never. No way.
And there
I
is a
have
family
I have
cap,
people
right?
that donate their tax credits specifically to athletics to help offset that if in case we have that need.
And there is a family cap, right?
There is a family cap, yeah. So it's $150 individually. It's $250, I think, is the family cap for you could have. You got 6 kids and they're all in high school. That's $250. Yeah.
Well, Eric, we appreciate you on the show, man, and we just want to put it out there that you ever have any athletes that you want to put out there that want to be on the show that you think are doing well and deserve to be here, and that's what this show originally started at. And then we just evolved. We had to have great people like you, great role models like that to also include. But if you will allow us to pull some of your students out of class at 8 o'clock in the morning for this little 15 minutes, but when you were having so much fun, this went over, but we're good. But if you allow us to have some of your kids to interview, you have some of them that you think deserve to be put out there, please let us know and we will get them on the show.
Absolutely. Greatly appreciated.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, Freas, thanks again for joining us this morning, and again for all that you do in collaboration with us and what you do for the student body there at Coconino High School.
And what you do for the city of Flagstaff and the city of Flagstaff.
Yeah.
And so thank you very much. And it's an honor to call you our friend.
Ditto on my end for sure. Thank you, guys.
Right. All right. Have a good day, Coach.
Thank you.
All right, man. Another great show. Another great show with Eric's been around, like I said, about as long as me, and I'm not quite as long as me, but he's just doing great things. It's nice to have him on the show, Coach. So I know you at work. I'm at home. So what you got going for the rest of the day, man?
Man, I got to go over here to the Oxplex right now. We got a custodial walkthrough and all that good stuff. So the contract is up, so go over here and do that and just work, man. Some people just work. So that's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah. Some people just sleep. But anyway, man, it's been a great show. Glad you were here. And as always, after a long day of basketball yesterday. And hey, just enjoy the weekend.
Yes, indeed. You do the same. And hey, look, all you people out there, we appreciated the live question from our girl Michelle today. We want more of that. So when you're out there, you see it, be sure to type in comments, questions so that we can get them on air. And then if you like what we're doing, smash that like button, subscribe, and keep us moving forward.
That's right. And then once again, if you have anybody that you know should be on the show or would you like to see on the show that hasn't been here, we need to celebrate our youth and these people in the community doing great things. Hit us up.
QR code is right there on your screen. Make sure you scan that and put in a guest request for us.
Yes.
Yep.
Instagram.
All right, Coach. It's been good, man. It's been real.
Man.
Always appreciate being on with you. And, Freas is a good dude. So it was good chopping up with him today. But look here, man. I don't know what everybody out here got to do. I hope y'all have a great day, great weekend, great week. But I do know one thing. Y'all ain't got to go home.
But you got to leave here. Peace.